What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United. You welcome to the full. Yeah. Is it really?
We got injuries, bro.
Yeah, injury crisis, absence crisis. Yes, but we're back for the full view. Indeed, it's myself, KG Kenny. We are meant to have. It must be said, we are meant to have 6 people on the way. I guess a bit of a teaser coming up in the future. We're going to have, hopefully, good vibes, John. We're going to have, hopefully, Coach Cam. We're going to have, hopefully, Marcel as well. But we will get there. We will get there indeed. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We are still, like everyone, basking in the glow of yesterday's 4-3 epic at Old Trafford yesterday as Manchester United knocked Liverpool out of the FA Cup, booked themselves a semi-final spot at Wembley against Coventry City, a team close to my own heart, KG. Went to university there. Know the city rather well. Yeah, know the city rather well. Yes, we're going to win, though. It doesn't even matter.
Little brother went
there.
But
yes, there you go. Lots of really smart people go there, apparently. That's what I've heard. Genius IQ. But yes, there's still plenty to get into this evening on the full view as we discuss how we're feeling about yesterday. Is it going to be a bit of a turning point? God, we've said that so many times this season with Manchester United. Have people been too harsh on Eric Ten Hag? Is it a turning point not only for United, the club, the team, but also for the manager? We'll be getting into all of it as well. Lots of people in the chat.
Wait, hold on. I'm hearing him. I've got to listen to the people in the chat, bro.
Let's start off with Kenny. Kenny, what is your reaction to yesterday? How did you break down the game? I'm sure, like everyone else, you had kind of a variety of emotions. Now you've managed to sleep on it a little bit. How are you feeling after yesterday's performance?
It's what football games are all about, isn't it? It's what supporting Man United's all about. Do you know what I mean? It's not a 1999 moment, but it's not far off, is it? When you get to that stage in a game where you're 1-0 up and looking comfortable, you then go 2-1 down before after, and you're thinking, what's happened? What's happened? You try to analyse it, and then the beginning of the second half, it was as if we'd gone. As if we'd gone. The first 40 minutes, I thought we were fantastic. It's probably the best 40 minutes I've seen us play on the front foot this year. And I thought we're really taking the game to them. With these 2 softish goals, deflections, just before half time. We then come out in the second half and we looked pitiful at times. And I'm thinking, come on. And then all of a sudden, the Antony substitution, a few other substitutions just sparked a change. You could sense in the crowd all of a sudden sensed it's only 2-1. We're only 2-1 down, we can do this. And then we get to 2 apiece and Rashford misses it right at the death. And if we don't win, we know if we don't win that game, then we're berating Marcus Rashford. We want him sold. We want him after PSG. We want Bruno gone because he took a soft tackle and fell over and went to get a foul. We give a goal away. But all that changes. We start the first half of the extra time. We get the goal. And then right at the end, young Amad comes on. And people are forgetting young Amad ran back to save a pass. He tracked all the way back and did a great tackle. He'll only ever be remembered for the goal, but the great tackle he did just before that was fantastic. He tracked all the way back, and then to win it in the way that we won it was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. It's what Manchester United are all about. Never die. Absolutely superb, and to do it against the Scousers was unbelievable. And fair play to the Scousers. What we saw yesterday, or what I saw yesterday, we've all talked about, our recruitment. We've got these signings, them signings wrong. I'll give it to Klopp. Them young kids, what came on, his signings, Enzo, McAllister. These are not like superstar signings, but boy, do they play for that badge. You won't see on any social media sites today Liverpool fans berating their players, because they did a fantastic effort. But we know if we'd lost that game, some of our fans would have been all over it. But no, it was just a great game of football, a fantastic game of football for the FA Cup. And I love it, absolutely love it. And all of a sudden, your spirits are lifted. You look at the league table now, You look at Tottenham, you look at Villa, and you think, you're giving it us. You're imploding. You are imploding. And we've just got to keep that momentum there. Keep that momentum. Keep people, get everybody back from injury. I thought Ten Hag yesterday, tactically wise, 4-4-2 to start, that high press was excellent. But then again, the last half hour of that game, he played 3 at the back. None of them defend. They played 3 at the back. But what it allowed him to do, to put 4 in midfield, and we completely snuffed their midfield out. We put an extra player in. We put an extra player in midfield in the first and second half of extra time, and we just nullified Liverpool. We nullified. We're in the second half. We'd slackened off. They were running through us as if it was easy for them. It was easy for them. But as soon as he made that change, put 3 at the back, 4 in midfield, 5 in midfield, I think it was Dalot that were just dropping in or whatever. Nunes never got a sniff. In extra time. It was excellent. So my hat's off to Ten Hag. Yesterday, the changes that he made, the substitutions that he made, were made at the right time. They all paid off. It was just a great game. Just a great game.
Great game indeed. KG, I spoke to you on the phone earlier on, and you had a lot of words to say. You said a bit like Flex, have gone on a bit of a sort of revenge tour over the last sort of 12 hours or so, you know.
Absolutely.
Kind of saying, wow, you know, call me deluded as much as you want. You even said it on Friday, didn't you? Hello, this is delusion talking. Delusion can be right, apparently. It can be right from time to time. How are you feeling 24 hours removed?
24 hours removed. I'm just trying to deal with some strange takes on the internet, you know, and I've been on to these people with the strange takes. Take number one is there's this line that Liverpool have thrown out there, and it seemed to be accepted. They're talking about they play too many games, you know. The fixture list totting up and adding up. They're in a competition that we was in. We went all the way, like we tried to go all the way. Actually, sorry, what did we get, quarters, or was it quarters or semis that we got knocked out in Europa? Can't remember. Do you remember?
It was quarters.
There you go. So we was playing. We played so many games, so many. Got to the FA Cup final. I don't want to hear these excuses from Jurgen Klopp about it was just fixture build up and tiredness, because of what happened last season is what's affected us this season with all the injuries, and we've had injury after injury. They played a good side yesterday. They played. Salah was there. They had their best players out. They had Virgil van Dijk. This is a team that they know and love. You know, they got Robinson back. I don't want to hear any excuses about even winning days. There was no need for them to play the team they played in the Europa League. There was that goal line, that goal difference was so clear. So they made the mistake for themselves. What they thought they did is they thought they had it sewn up. They took off Salah early. We got to talk about Klopp's in-game management, because Klopp made some mistakes there and we capitalized on the mistakes. That's what you're saying. Again, I've heard other people say it's the mistakes that Liverpool made as to why we won, excluding the fact that we had like 28 attempts. Yeah, 28 attempts, 11 on top. Like, mate, don't tell me it's just for mistakes, mate. Our XG was higher. We were on these lot. Yes, the second half, it was crazy. Second half didn't go the way we wanted it to go. But me and you on the stream, we never gave up belief. We kept saying, listen, the goal's going to come at some point. The goal will come at some point. What's going on? Welcome, Marcel. The goal's going to finally come at one point. And the goal did, like we said, wait, hold on. What was the line actually? It was like, we'll know when the chance comes. We'll know
that was it. That was it. We said, even when we went 3-2 down, and when we were 2-1 down, both times that happened, we said, there'll be a chance. We'll get a chance.
There'll be a chance.
And even there was a couple of sort of false doors. We went, that's not the chance. We'll know it when we see it. We know it when we'll see it. And it was right, KG. You're right. You're always right to believe.
Absolutely. Like, believe to the end. And I remember when we went 2-1 down, yeah, because again, I will apologize. I don't even mind apologizing to Amad today. Yeah, but then my thing is, as much as I apologize, I don't really see the apologies coming back towards my way, because at 2-1, I got blamed for the video. I got blamed for this. I said, this is on me. All of a sudden, shut up. Why are you being so positive? This, that, and the other. And then after, it just gets silent, mate. Do you know what I'm saying? And then after, when you're seeing your manager, because let me not be disingenuous, and because I did nothing on that day. It was a team. The team fought, and the team literally gave their all, and our manager was managing. What people accused him of having no in-game management, no tactics, well, you saw it. And then after, all the managers that you do want to come to the club, they wouldn't have done what he did. He took off Varane and said, I wanted to prove to them that I need more football played. I need more one-on-ones. He actually broke down why he was trying to play that way. Said, listen, I've got rid of Varane. I'm telling them the mentality that I've got right now is attack 1v1s. You got a situation when you got Bruno at the back. One more. Yeah, you got Bruno at the back. Bruno at the back. Next to him, Antony. Next to him, I can't remember who's playing on the other side of him. Was it Delo in the back three? And you got Maguire in the false. Yeah. You got Maguire in the false 9, bro. You got Maguire taking shots. This manager said, I'm going for this no matter what. He's brave. Some managers are not going to be that brave and do that. And now you look at his record. No one's talking about Liverpool's record versus the top 6 this season. Why? Because it's not popular. Why? Because it doesn't fit their agenda. And with us, again, they faced 20-something goals. Is anyone going to say, hey, mate, you faced over 20 goals. What's going on with you lot? They're not asking those questions. Is anyone going to pull them up for? There's so many things to pull them up for. It will never happen. Why? Because Fergie ruined these lots' childhoods. And they're still sorry about it today. They're still sorry about it today. And that's why I won't stop. I even saw an article, Sports Bible. There's a picture. They take a still, of the space between on a counterattack. And it said, this picture says 1,000 words. It's gone viral. Mate, we won. You lot still looking for something. There's this bit when they done this other video of Antony being a bit upset about being moved to left back, trying to just create a storm in the teacup settings. They can't help it. Man United, and that's why I say to the fans, I'm always on the fans saying, listen, guys, we have to kind of unite as a fan base. Even forget this in-out situation. What we could do something this season. We could actually finish in the top 4 and win silverware. Now, if you're talking about progression and stepping forward with this manager, that's what I call progression. So I think if we can just again make Old Trafford a fortress, be loud and support these boys, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of super chats here. JJ Kocha, don't think it's the real one, says, question for KG and related, when is Williams coming to Expect Foolishness podcast?
Can you imagine? We just got 2,000 subs, so I think he said everything he wants to say with Shannon. But apologies to what you call it. I doubted Amad. Apologies to Amad. I said I didn't think he was ready. I said, look, I only believe when the manager says he can play because I trust in the manager. Amad came on, and that finish wasn't an easy finish. Garnacho plays it to him, and he has to do a little bit more to just kind of deceive the defender.
It's not tapping by any stretch of the imagination. And Ten Hag did say that in his press conference after the game. He sort of held his hands up and said he's actually been really unlucky because he's not got the minutes that he has deserved in training. Basically saying, look, I should have probably played him more, but he's come into a team when there were other players ahead of him, i.e. like a Garnacho playing on the right-hand side, Rashford on the left-hand side, Højlund. Like, it's been difficult at points to put him in, is basically what he said. And yesterday, to be honest, when people are going, why did Antony play ahead of Amad and what have you? They both came on. They both changed the game yesterday, didn't they? So they both suddenly become options as well. Super chat from Ritesh says, hats off to KG. He never stopped believing in our manager. No matter what, let's keep this vibe for the rest of the season. KG, don't change, please. KG's never changing. KG, he won't. As much of a flip-flopper as he is, he won't change. Red Devil says, UV Clips did KG dirty on the Onana comp. Now give him his flowers and make a comp. He said months ago he wanted to knock Liverpool and Klopp out of the FA Cup. Very true. UV Clips, go find it. Please go find it because it's there. I said, I can't wait. I need this game. And I know I was met with a lot of shock in the comments everywhere. People's like, are you mad? How? It's like, good. And Klopp crying in his car, bro. Brilliant stuff. I do have that. There you go.
He's crying in his car.
There you go. Ogwa says, big up everyone. Happy we won, but why can't we maintain performance for most of the game? This team play off emotion more than ability. Big up. We'll circle back to it. Nessie's been a man for 20 months. Says, imagine the media coverage if Ten Hag or any other manager acted the way Klopp did. Embarrassing. Glory, glory, Man United. And another one here says, did they face 20 plus shots per game? Let's not do this, KG. Enjoy the win and not ruin the moment.
Well, I'm just saying, no, I'm not doing that. I'm saying right now, let's start counting with every team, how many shots they face. It's not it's not consistent. Right now, there's an issue with Liverpool not winning the big games against the top 6. It's not a conversation. It is not a conversation at all. Like in the Premier League, what have they done in the Premier League in terms of against the big 6? That's no conversation. Doesn't fit their agenda. We'll leave it alone. Man United, when we were falling and we weren't winning against the top 6, they even done this thing about our away record against the top 6. Bro, they will find a narrative and say, look how bad they're doing, not knowing first season we're trying to develop and stuff. Get out of here with that crap.
Marcel, what's your reaction to what you saw yesterday? I heard your voice note to Flex talking about Amad, saying, I told you, Amad's the guy, I told you. How are you feeling after yesterday? What did you make of the game? What did you make of Ten Hag? Give me your thoughts.
A basketball match, which we kind of expect within this process, but I'm not going to get too excited about it. We're going through a process. I think Ten Hag's press, we all need to watch his post-match press conference, just in terms of how he outlays what happened within that game.
Yeah, he was very reserved, actually, wasn't he, in the presser?
Yeah,
really reserved.
He's the most patient. I've said it. You guys laughed at me, but he's the most patient man for this football club. He's not getting too excited about, when the difficult times are happening and when the good times are happening. He's just saying it's business as usual. And he's still trying to put the notion into these players' mind that we have to get silverware this season, even though it's been a bad season, even though he's had to change so many things, even though there's been so many injuries, even though the players haven't really been respecting him, certain players, properly as a player to manager relationship. So I think he's just been brilliant as a manager so far this season. I said that this was the only way for us to win games against the top 6 or the top 4. It has to be from a pragmatic base. That they're superior to us, player for player, unfortunately, right now. So you have to start with protecting your goal as much as possible, and then going into our handbook, our DNA of counter-attacking, attacking the space that they leave behind us. It's the only way right now until you make the next step, like Ollie was talking about, and getting those world-class players in that can dominate for 90 minutes. Just on that super chat that they were talking about, why is it only a 30-minute spell? It's because we haven't got superior footballers to be able to control the football in a tight space, in the opposition's half. So these are little teething periods within the process. Klopp's had 7 years of that process, where he's able to cultivate footballers even within the academy. That's why you're seeing the academy players being able to come in and do what's required within the system. So Ten Hag has to go through that. He's got a wonderful set of young players, that are growing within that culture. So he's starting the process very, very well. He's done what Pep's done in terms of getting a goalkeeper that can do the attacking attributes and the defensive attributes, starting as he means to go on through the process. It's just brilliant right now in terms of the management within a difficult period as well. And Klopp had a similar kind of thing in his second season as well, I believe, which I still keep saying I need to look into to understand and look into the future, the past, to know where the future is going. But, I'm very, very happy with that result. It's the only way, like I say, against the top 6. And we've got another few top 4 games coming up, when we're looking forward, because that's all my manager's really doing now. That was business as usual, that game. So, looking forward against those bigger teams, we have to still play this kind of football where it's compact first and attack the spaces until you can upregulate the quality of the squad. The quality of the squad's still not good enough, and that's just the real harsh cold reality.
Don't you think that it wasn't? I don't think it was as pragmatic as the other Liverpool one was away. This one, I feel we tried to go for the juggler. I thought we attacked and we had the better chances. We got in a lot as well.
Yeah, I agree. Against City, though, we did as well at home, but unfortunately, that's why I'm modulating how I feel about it, because against City, you end up with a 3-0 loss. But I argue to the hills, KG, that we were the better football inside. They had a lucky penalty. And then, of course, our emotions, the ambience, what Flex has been talking about last season, under adversity, all these things, when it kicks in for these groups of players, this 25 Man United man squad, we crumble a little bit. And yes, men need to come into the team. Yes, the quality needs to get better under pressure. But that ambience today, the 12th man, Old Trafford, 75 faithful, they gave the team, they galvanized the team. And that's part of being at home. But we need to be able to produce that away as well, which we did. You're right. We was more of a juggernaut. And I think that the crowd encourages you to play forward, massively as a footballer, as a person, when you've got so many people, willing you to go forward and attack. So, of course, the away performance in front of the Anfield lot is going to be a lot more pragmatic and scary. And, we just got battered 7-0 the season before. So, there's things that you're going to want to hold on to in terms of defensive principles before you go forward. But, against Liverpool at home, the onus was on us and we done that job. And they didn't give up on their tasks. So it was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, we said it going into the game, didn't we? Looking at last season when we played Liverpool at home in the league in that third game of the season, we said that day we won that game because we were just really intense. We were way more intense than they were. We just outfought them. And particularly what Kenny was pointing out earlier on, that first 40 minutes, you'd have said absolutely. You outfought them on the pitch, really, really intense, was at them. And really going into half-time, it being 2-1, that was more our fault than Liverpool's great quality or anything like that, particularly the second goal, playing out from the back, just being quite naive. And maybe to Marcel's point there too, when you've got a young side with a young nucleus there, they're going to be naive and they need to be maybe a bit more street smart of, okay, if you 1-0 up 40 minutes in or it's 5 minutes left, or even if it's 1-1, just get to half-time, get it to 1-1. A bit like we saw in the Champions League when we were, was it 3-1 up? Whenever we were playing Copenhagen and Rashford got the red card, you're going, just get to half-time, don't concede the goal and all that kind of stuff. Just be a bit smarter. And maybe that's what United needed to do in that aspect. But no, I thought we were the better side. I don't get, and I mentioned this on the morning show earlier with Flex, that I'm not having today the Liverpool fans trying to gaslight it that it was a different game than it was. Liverpool with the...
Piss
yeah.
off.
Doyle was the worst. I didn't even realize they had that. AGT and Doyle going, well, we kind of had that date booked up for a wedding anyway, so we're not really available.
Get out of here, bro.
Or this is the other one as well, isn't it? Going, we didn't really care about the FA Cup. Well, you kind of did care when you knocked Arsenal out of the Emirates. Like I saw you celebrating. Oh, so you didn't care when that was happening. All right, okay, interesting. And actually with Liverpool as well, considering the races that they're in, for all of their various different bits of silverware this season, very possible they could come third and just win the Carabao Cup. And apparently, according to what they were saying last season, for us, that's not a good season. Third place Carabao Cup, it's not a good season, apparently. That's what we heard.
They had players
at the time
jumping over the boarding. They had players jumping over the hoarding, the players that weren't involved, the injured ones, to celebrate that moment. Super gassed, over the moon. It was again, when it's Liverpool, it means something. When it's not them, it's a disgrace. It's a Mickey Mouse Cup. And which one is it? Anyhow they finish third with just the Carabao Cup. There's got to be a real inquest.
Yeah, it's got to be some strong conversations.
Well, I think the other thing as well is that you can't. I'm not going to name individuals, but say it was Wan-Bissaka's first game since he's coming back, and they put him against Mo Salah. I thought he was outstanding. Dalot as well.
He's been out, I think. Wan-Bissaka, unbelievable.
Yeah, but as you say, Ten Hag knows his strength, and his strength is simple. If he has to stick to a man, he sticks to a man. He does it against City, puts him up against De Bruyne. He's put him up against Mahrez in the past. That's what he does. That's what he does well. You're not if he gets tight to a player, he doesn't get skinned. The mistake when Salah scored yesterday, it wasn't anything wrong at what Wan-Bissaka had done, because Wan-Bissaka, I thought, was outstanding against him. On the other wing, Diaz has been playing probably the best of the forwards, Diaz. But again, Dalot had him no problems. So for me,
phenomenal.
The main threat is today. Yeah, the phenomenal. Both fullbacks. To say that, Wan-Bissaka completely out of position, completely his first game for months, to put him against Mo Salah. Wow, that is a credit to that lad.
I think just on that though, I think KG, you predicted that, didn't you? On the flexing KG, he's just saying that in terms of Wan-Bissaka playing on the left. Yeah. Wambi. Yeah. So,
back and holding it down. Wambi's a real one, man, and it's so difficult because now you're trying to create funds and stuff, mate. Wambi can do a job, fam. See, it's like almost like, oh man, like he ain't played. Remember, Johnny Evans was supposed to play, but then and Lindelof was supposed to play against Salah. Yeah. But then again, the game before hasn't trained. Wambi goes in against probably one of the most mercurial talents in the Premier League. Yeah.
And in the world.
In the world. And that's a job.
One of the all-time greats in the Premier League, without a doubt. His records.
Exactly. And to Kenny's point, And this is kind of the difficult thing with Wan-Bissaka, isn't it? Because he can do that. Like if he's got a job, like you've got a really good winger to go up against, we know he can win that battle because he's won that battle over and over and over again. It's more like what Marcel was saying earlier on. If you want to make that next step of right, I'm going to dominate games. I'm going to invert. I'm going to have that fullback become a midfielder and actually kind of run the show in the midfield. Can he do that? And you kind of go, is that worth keeping him for?
Do you not think though? If as your team's progressing, right, you're entering all the big competitions. So hopefully next year in the Champions League, the further you go, the better the players you're going to be playing against. And 9 times out of 10, the danger people that are against you, be the top 4, right? You can go through them. You can go through all the teams. De Bruyne. You can talk about Grealish, this, that, and the other. You can talk about PSG, Mbappe. You can talk about Real Madrid. These are teams you're playing in. If you've got a Wan-Bissaka on your team, you have got 100% confidence that the very best player, right, is the only player that I would ever consider doing a man-to-man on, without a doubt. Every top team has got a great player. Every top team has got a great player. And it's proved it over the last few seasons. It proved it against City twice last year. It was up against Grealish. They even swapped Grealish. They swapped the wingers. I think they made 3 substitutions on the wingers. Why? Because they couldn't get round Wan-Bissaka. So for me, I'm not saying it's great going forward. I know he ain't. But there are times in every game, when you get the best of the opposition, and the 9 times out of 10 they're a winger, you want the likes of a Wan-Bissaka one-on-one with them, nobody else.
Can I ask a question to everyone really? And John Chin just pulled up at a good time as well.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you lot about just again the energy and everything shown, but I'd like to ask you lot about Antony. I would like to ask you lot about Amad. Like, just what do you lot think, man? Because Antony yesterday, he came on. He was like a man possessed as well. Maybe
Change the game
as well.
Change the game.
Antony came in on smoke, bro. John, what are you telling me, man? Where are we going with this thing?
First of all, I just want to say I apologize for coming late. I was taking care of my family. Family comes first always, guys. Just letting y'all know.
Absolutely.
No, sorry.
Your question about what was going on? Your question about Amad, your question about Antony. Let's get to that. Look, I think everything that happened for Manchester United yesterday, everything went right. I mean, I'm talking about substitutions, plays. I'm sure you guys probably discussed it at this point already. But when it comes specifically to Amad and Antony, you need to see that. That's of course phenomenal, but you need to see that on a more consistent basis. And if I'm playing devil's advocate for Antony and Amad, especially specifically for Amad, somebody who the Manchester United fan base has been calling out for quite some period and pressuring Erik Ten Hag to give him some game time, that gives Erik Ten Hag positive headaches, right? If Manchester United were in a very, very healthy position, right, and then Manchester United have the luxury of affording all the chances to all these young players, then okay, cool. Then I understand that the pressure is the competition. But when it's so difficult for Erik Ten Hag to find that consistency and the balance in a season that's filled with injuries and whatnot, it's oddly enough, it's even still tough for Erik Ten Hag to be able to give chances to somebody like Amad, somebody like maybe not Antony, but somebody like Amad in particular. And if they perform like the way that they did yesterday, then who in the right mind is going to say, all right, these guys can't play? Of course, Erik Ten Hag is going to be like, oh my God, this is fantastic competition. Whereas maybe, for instance, when he relied on Marcus Rashford for 85 minutes, if Amad comes on and performs like that, if Antony comes on and performs like that, then maybe he's going to go, okay, I can rely on Amad and Antony. So let me give Marcus 60 minutes if he's not performing, or let me give Garnacho 60 minutes if he's not performing, and give the rest to Amad or Antony. It's about the consistency. The squad's been lacking it. The players have been lacking it. The manager's been lacking it for all different reasons. And at the end of the day, when things become positive, all these attributes become beneficial for Manchester United and for these players dying to try and get into the squad for game time.
Absolutely. I look at it from the point of view as well. You've got to go back to our most successful history. You look at our most successful team in history. You had York and Cole, and you had Sheringham and Ollie, right? And they were all vying for the same places. And what used to happen, it happened every game. He used 9 games out of 10. He would start with York and Cole, and if they hadn't scored in the 60th minute, they were both off. And it was Ole and Sheringham on. Now, with young Amad, the problem that young Amad's got, right, is the fact that in a normal season, under normal circumstances, you've got Jadon Sancho there, right, and you've got Antony there. You've got 160 to nearly 200 million pounds worth of players on that right-hand side. Now, circumstances have meant that Amad has finally got his chance, because you might never have heard of Amad. Amad might have been out at Sunderland if Sancho had stayed and if things would have been okay with Antony in the season. But the point I'm making is, players like Amad, you need them. They are impact players. You need Garnacho. They impact a game. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was very poor when he started a game, but his record from the bench was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And if you're going to build a team moving forward, you have to have those players, the Hamads, the Antonys, and this, that, and the other, that can impact a game. And that's what it's about. That's why they're brought on. They're not, Ahmad's not there for what he's doing over 90 minutes or whatever. Neither is Antony, because they've shown their inconsistency. But what they're showing to Ten Hag is there are times, certain times in certain games, they spark. And yesterday they both sparked. And that's great for the club going forward, because it gives, all of a sudden, Eric Ten Hag is going to, next few games, he's going to be looking on his bench behind him and he's thinking, I can bring Antony on, I can bring Amad on. The fans will think, you'll be screaming, get Antony on, get Amad on, and we're not winning, because you know that they have it in them to impact a game. They're not consistent, I'm not saying they're not, but they have that in them. And that's what makes the great players. They have that ability to win a game. They have that ability to win a game.
Absolutely.
Okay, can I just? So I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Master.
Just on that, I just think with Antony, I think he has to go. You know, unfortunately, he still has to be sold. I was one of the people that, you know, was supporting him, you know, nevertheless, because, you know, he scored in big games. I was saying it just the other week, you know, Arsenal, City, you know, Chelsea had a chop opportunity in the halftime. He's scored in big moments for the club, and he's delivered another one, by the way. So, you know, on that premise alone, KG, I think, okay, you know, give him the opportunity to try, and definitely our manager will be thinking that. You know, he's gone on a human level as well, KG. He's gone through predicaments outside, back home with his family. So that's not going to be playing beautiful football. You're not going to be thinking about football in a beautiful way because of this situation. So that he's also had that, but just on pure, when like what Kenny's saying, when I think about our most successful time, I'm thinking about Ryan Giggs. And then when I think about Ryan Giggs and Antony, I'm thinking, well, it's just too big. It's just not going to be able to catch that. So he has to be sold. And then for the price point, and unfortunately, he has to be sold. But with Amad, on the other hand, this is a match winner. For me, I look at this footballer and I see a match winner. I see someone that can also, maybe not the level of tenacity that Antony brings, because, by the way, that's his manager that's brought him to the club. But he brings energy, he brings the tenacity, the fighting spirit. We saw how many times he got the ball regains in that particular game against Liverpool Football Club. Amad is hungry. He wants to play for the club. So, and he looks like somebody that's, you know, he's worked under Tony Mowbray, somebody that understands the English game. You know, I feel like he's a better fit for the club out of the two players. Antony, I don't think will make it, even though he has, and I've been one of the people to say we need to give this player more time. He's in a very unstable club right now, and within his own life, very unstable situation. But I just can't, at that price point, I can't see him putting up Ryan Giggs numbers, world-class numbers. I can't, like.
I honestly
not many players can, lad.
Yeah, because Ryan Giggs is
not many
just
players can. Yeah, it's unique.
That's beyond. Go ahead.
Let me get these super chats quickly, KG, and we'll come back. Saeed says, apologize, ye peasants, to the celebrity KG. KG, the celebrity, of course. Antonio says, I think the shots face stat is misleading. We've posted the most shots, yet we only conceded 39 goals so far, 4th best in the league. Low quality shots. And Lucas Chan says, is your finger better? Good vibes, John. Also, glory, glory, Man United. Do we have a finger update on Good Vibes, John?
Oh, yeah. So yesterday I was celebrating Rashford's goal, and I took my house and I smashed my finger on my table right here, and it's still like swollen. I still feel pain, but I think it's okay. I thought it was fractured yesterday because it was pretty sharp, but I'm good.
He's going to be okay. We've got nearly 1,200 people watching, only 246 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Let's get that to 500 minimum. Also, as Mal McCypher says, Antony impact player at Ollie level with 1 goal as well.
You know what,
This is the interesting conversation, KG. This is a question I was going to ask you. Do we have to, as we obviously get further away from the game and sort of reality comes back together, has your mindset changed on any of the players that maybe because of what happened yesterday, like an Antony, who, like you said, came on and was a man possessed, not only because, I mean, he changed the game. To give him his credit, he changed the game. His goal, right foot, out of nowhere as well. He's got kind of no business to score it as well. Initially, it's back to goal. Yeah, swivel, scores, puts it in the bottom corner. Is that a catalyst for people like him? Is Amad, the winning goal, is that a catalyst for him that people will go, well, maybe in the summer he might be off as well? I don't know. People talk about Victor Lindelof. Oh, actually, is he useful to keep around? Like, has it changed your opinion on any of those players? Or are you still focused on, no, some of these players, they've still got to go?
No, definitely. What I came away from that game thinking is there was a big moment on the pitch. There was a Mason Mount hugging Antony and talking to him. Is the end of the game. And that moment just really, it sticks with you because you could tell that mentally he's been getting through it. And obviously with whatever he got through, whatever he went through off the pitch, it's had a big part on him. It's kind of like Maguire in Greece. What happened to him, that mentally really rocked him. You know, you're talking this a young player, brand new league, and you have this beyond big situation in your home country. Are you gonna go like that? That must be a lot, because even at the end of the game, when Delow's like pumping up the fans and stuff, Antony walks past first, but he's crying. What people and then he's like, how old is he? 23, 22? Like, he's young. He's young in a new country, probably without his family members, this, that, and the other. It is a lot. There's one of those things where, and then you do the age range thing, and you think, yeah, but players should just play this, that, and the other. But I can only imagine the pressure of playing for Man United. And I don't know if not like saying he exercised some demons in that game, but he needed that goal. As soon as he scored, he felt he could do anything. You know, he started trying to go at his man, trying to do, and it's kind of like almost, you see when we saw Rasmus score for Man United, and he almost let out that feeling of frustration, that first goal, and there was tears and stuff, and then after that, we ain't seen the tears since. It's just been he's on it. If people don't pass to him, he's berating, he's like, he felt like when this guy came, the media went crazy for the spin move. Crazy. Like, it was bigger than anything we've ever seen before. It's like, mate, he just spins on the ball. It's like, it's not even that deep, like, but it was almost like, oh, how could he? This is embarrassment to football kind of thing. It's like, mate, everyone relax. The guy's just come to a new league. We're making this more, and I get it, he's come for a lot of money. The shame thing for him is he can't do nothing about the price tag. He tried everything to get to Man United, and his dream was almost derailed. I do hope he gets it back together. I do hope that he finds his form. I would like it to work out for him. I don't know if he's going to get the time, but it's just, I looked at it on a human level, and that's probably my mistake is I'm too sensitive as a fan, because the other fans will say, nope, don't care, get him out of here. I respect those people, but I'm just talking it from me, from my human level. I'm like, oh man, I just want this kid to work out. I could just see a kid that was walking down thinking, even a celebration, pointing at the shirt, like, I want to be here, bro. Like,
he was pointing, he was going like that. He was going number one. He was going number one.
There was something
about, I'm not saying I'm Antony and I'm not Antony out, but I look at other teams. Let's look at Grealish. Grealish came to City about the same time. Grealish hardly plays for Man City. He's lucky to get on the bench. It costs £100 million. I don't see Man City fans berating Grealish all the time. Where we, as our fans at United, we're always looking for scapegoats. We're always looking for something or someone to blame. And I get on board. I take it on board. But to compare him to likes of Ryan Giggs and expect his numbers, it's crazy. It's crazy. Because there's never been a player in the league, in world football probably, has won as many accolades as Ryan Giggs, let alone. And I understand what you're saying about our expectations. And somebody's going to tell me now, but it costs £80 million. Well, he didn't have to be played. to go for £80 million. That was just poor management at the time that they paid so much for him. If he'd have come in at a £30 million player, which he should have done, then I don't think we'd have seen all the hype and whatever. So I'm not defending Ante, but I also take on board what KG's saying, because I saw it myself. Mason Mount was like a big brother to him yesterday. Put his arm around him and you could see what he was on about. You know, you could see he wasn't asking what. He wasn't asking him what does he want for his tea or whatever. It was like, you know, it was probably deeper, something deep and meaningful or whatever. You know what I mean?
I can tea or that. What are you having after the scones?
John, since we're talking about players that people are talking about in the summer about, you know, they could possibly go, etc. Scott McTominay. I want to have a Scott McTominay conversation because when he started, when the team news came out yesterday and Casemiro obviously was injured and McTominay was starting, do you remember KG? The chat was filling up, social media's filling up. McTominay, why is he playing against Liverpool? He's not this, he's not that. Not only does he score the first goal, he gets an assist for the Marcus Rashford goal. He probably could have had a hat-trick yesterday, actually. First half, he hit one straight at the keeper. Second half, ball in. He slides across. It goes past the post. He could have had a hat-trick yesterday. Do we see why, John, that Erik Ten Hag really does like to keep him around? He scored these goals this season, and actually, when it matters, he put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, but Scott McTominay is the typical, like the quintessential manager's player. You know, you've seen it with Jose Mourinho. You see it with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You see it now with Erik Ten Hag. There's a reason why managers love him. Is because he's loyal, he works hard, and he has his attributes. We talk about it all the time. I think Manchester United fans over the year or the past 2 years, honestly, if we're talking about since post Sir Alex Ferguson, we've been on edge for a long time. But in the past few years, at least, when we're specifically looking at Scott McTominay as a footballer, we've all been sort of heightened to believing that he's just a poor footballer. But that has never been the case. I personally think he's not good at what he should be good at as a midfielder in terms of being confident on the ball, being brave enough to show up for it, being constantly looking around, making angles for passing options. I don't think he's all that great at that, but what he really excels in is making the late runs into the box on the 2v1s, receiving the ball, half turn, shouldering somebody off, getting off me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's strong at. And if we have the luxury of having that midfield balance, Scott McTominay could be that incredible squad player that Erik Ten Hag can rely on to come on and say, look, you could play in that number 10 pocket. If we're chasing a goal, if we're trying to, if we're chasing a goal, we're trying to find an equalizer, bring him in there. You know, if Marouane Fellaini it up, make him play in that 10, late runs into the box, through the channels, something. You can rely on him for those kinds of things. But when you're at Manchester United right now, with the injuries that we've been facing, with the crises up and down, off the pitch, on and on the pitch, Scott McTominay's thrown into a role that he's not necessarily strong at. Like, for example, yesterday, I was kind of looking at some sort of I was trying to tactically break down what went on, because in that first half, although we looked dominant, there were moments where Liverpool completely just bang, hit us on the counter. They waltzed through our midfield. It was almost as if our midfield was not there. That's not because Kobe Mainoo's a bad player. That's not because Bruno's a bad player. That's not because Scott McTominay is the only one that should be doing the job. It's just because there's a lack in midfield balance. And that comes down to squad structure and squad strength. We're asking Scott McTominay to do things that he's not necessarily good at or useful for. And that's what makes it hard, because there's a decent player there. I've always said that Scott McTominay is not good enough to play for the Manchester United 11, and I stand by that. But that's not to say that he's a bad player. He has Man United written all over him. He has a future here. It's just, I don't know how far that'll carry him, but we just need to play to his strengths.
To Marcel,
100% agree with you. 100% agree.
On this one, though, because what we got from Scott, when Rasmus was injured, the Scott goals dried up, because Rasmus is someone to build off, you know. And do you think that if Rasmus is in this team, do we get the best out of Scott McTominay? Because they're always next to each other. When the ball is dropping at when you know that yards out, it's going to be two of them. They're right next to each other, really getting to just finish. What are you telling me?
No, he needs to go as well. Unfortunately, he's like, if you're doing it in terms of squad importance, just numerically, 1 being the most important player and 25, let's say it's 25 months, he's like number 18, 17, 15 in the squad in terms of importance. You know, he comes on and has some.
He's been our most.
I'm talking about.
You're talking about.
Don't conflate the two. Don't conflate the two, because even Kenny, when I was talking about the Ryan Giggs and Anthony, I wasn't trying to say that Antony will ever get there. I'm just trying to say the benchmark is of Ryan Giggs in terms of what the output and what they produce. I'm not saying the numbers. So I don't want to conflate the issue. But what I'm trying to say, Owen, is don't conflate. What I'm trying to say is just in terms of what, you know, Scott is able to produce, it's never going to be enough. It's just, you know, and I'm talking about at the end, at the top level of the process, once we start playing the front foot football, it's just never going to be enough. You saw it with Højlund. Højlund was there at the game, just vexed with him. There, it's a simple pass to make into the space for the madman Højlund to run into, break into, and have a 1v1 against the goalkeeper. He can't execute that pass. It was another game as well where Rashford just needed it down the channel in the space. Simple weight on it. He overhits it, goes rolling straight out to the keeper. It's never going to be enough. His ability from the second line, though, from that midfield line, running in, you know, you seeing where the space is in the forward line with the striker there, he knows to attack the space. And then if the crosses are looking for him, he gets the ball, he can make an impact. He's
Marcel, can I ask you a question, Marcel? I want to ask you a question, Marcel.
Yeah.
What if, let's say, we found Scott McTominay pops on the show right now and he says, look, I might not be good enough to play in the 11, but I'd love to stay at Manchester United and play whenever possible, whenever the manager needs me. And he says he wants to be a squad player. Would you still sell him then? If he's okay with being a squad player?
Because you mentioned a wonderful point that he's Man United through and through. You need players like that. You need them. They're so important. They understand what it means to play for the club. They're gonna offer something even incredible in the training sessions even. So maybe you keep him on. But if the floor, if he's like I'm saying to you, he's number 18, especially in my mind when we get to the front foot football, if he becomes further and further down the pecking order, unfortunately, you're going to want a floor raiser that a Jude Bellingham-esque then.
I'm with you because I think
you need someone that has the technical ability and the running ability.
I think he's got what Darren can do for us because I would say, you're talking when you say 18th year on the list, we're talking about a guy that's got 9 goals in all competitions. For Man United, that's mad, and 3 assists in all competitions as well. Like, we can't have him so low on the totem pole because he's actually, bro, he's been mad important this season. Not even kind of important. Bro, he's a goal scoring midfielder. I'm not saying now give him everything. I
don't think anyone's saying start him, are they? I think we could go around the panel here and everyone wouldn't say be a start, but a squad player to bring on.
Yeah, I think Marcel's agreeing with what John is saying. And I think KG is agreeing with what John is saying. I think we're all of the opinion that Scott McTominay is never going to be a Kevin De Bruyne or a Casemiro. Not as long as he's got an hole in his bottom. No chance. But what he can be and what he is basically is a damn good, reliable football that you can bring on. Last week, forget the game yesterday, but you look at last week against Everton, he played Scott McTominay for his physicality because them players at Everton were all big lads and we had no big lads on the pitch. So what Scott McTominay can do, he can be your false 10. You can put Scott McTominay at centre half if you want because he will do a job for you. So I agree that he is number 18 in the squad. But number 18 at Manchester United is you need number 18s. You need Amads. You need Scott McTominays. You need these players that can come on and do a job for you. And as KG said, that lad's come on this season and he's scored some very, very important goals. And if he hadn't scored the goals that he had done, Eric Ten Hag wouldn't have been here now. He'd have been sacked. You don't need to worry. He's saved some games this year. But it's still what Marcel is doing and what we're all wanting. We're all wanting that level from every player. We want that level from a player. We are probably 2 or 3 windows off that level, but we are. So what we have to do, we've got to make do with Scott McTominay. We've got to make do with Amaz. We've got to make do with this. But as long as they're making that positive contribution, and that's what Scott McTominay's doing, I don't like Scott McTominay. I thought yesterday, he allowed Endo and he allowed McAllister far too much space and they just ran through us. But I also know that he got a goal and assist. So we have to accept that.
Against
we
Liverpool.
have to accept that. Exactly. So he is number 18 in the squad.
That's fine. Let's get to these super chats. They're piling up. M. Sati says, it's ironic that we divided the 7-0 this year to 4-3 and took the majority. Now we both need to remember this number. Ten Hag was against the world with subs. It says, Antony, terrible. The goal was the only good thing. I felt very harsh. I think Antony delivered a lot more than just the goal as well. For his energy and his fight was tremendous. Ogwa says, one swallow does not make a summer. This team has a lot to prove. I root for all the players and the manager, but ultimately proof is in the pudding. And that is a good point. You've got to make it count for something. If you get knocked out against Coventry or in the final, whoever that's against, then, do you even remember that? And also the Premier League, there's still a lot to fight for. We'll get into that in just a second. Red Devils 99 says, Mount winning goal, FA Cup final versus Chelsea.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my.
Take that.
That is. Oh my.
Max Cypher says, man, bigged up Martial too. Antony quality, not Man U. Don't know if you're saying man, it's not quality for Man U. And Ogwa says, McTominay is a symptom of what we are currently as a club. I just think on McTominay, to be honest, I think that sometimes we do get very hyper-focused, don't we, on every player that comes in has to be world-class, 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 world-class. And the reality is football squads don't really work like that all the time. So Marcel's put me saying you need a 25-man squad or whatever. Sometimes you do have 18, 19 top quality players, the best teams do. But then you do have to have those players that, yeah, they are the step below, but they're happy to be a squad player. They're happy to be a utility. And they're the glue that holds the squad together. Now, McTominay still could go in the summer if we got an offer of 40 million as an academy player.
Not 40 anymore, mate.
Well, it's something you consider. You could 60. Kenny's going 60. I mean, you never know. You never know. My point being is that sometimes that you can't have a squad of 25 world-class players. You just can't. Football doesn't work like that. So it's interesting with McTominay, certainly. KG, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to ask you a question. Look, a lot's gone for us this week, over the last 7 days. A lot has gone for us. When it comes to the teams that are already still in Europe this season, they advanced to the next stages. The German teams as well dropped out a little bit. So now it looks like it's not just going to be the top 4. It's going to be the top 5. They get Champions League next season. We then saw the people we're chasing for those top 5 spots, particularly Spurs, Villa. They dropped points this weekend as well. So now I think the difference is what? Is it 6 points still? I think something like that. 6 points.
Game in hand for us, I think. Is it a game in hand for us?
Well, I think Spurs had the game in hand, didn't they? And then they played that. So now it's level on games, I think it is. But still, you were saying on Friday on the Trinity, we're going to go on a run. Do you believe even more than you did previously? Are we going to get in the champ? Well, put it this way: are we going to be in the Champions League next season?
Yes, top 4.
4, not even 5.
Yeah, top 4. I think it's going to be difficult for we have to call these things out. And yesterday, it could be a turning of a corner. Man United need belief. Yeah, but one thing we do have is the players that have returned as well. The players returning. Mate, Mason Mount got some minutes yesterday. He's got stuff to prove to Man United. Kobbie Mainoo is balling out of control. That's something we haven't mentioned on this show today. And I'm not calling it a disgrace, but it's almost a disgrace, bro. Kobbie Mainoo is unreal. Literally, like, it doesn't make any sense. What is his best position? You can't just tell me, as a 6, he's impeccable. But if you move him forward, did you see the footwork? Did you see what he's doing?
Yeah, brilliant.
Did he so full great players? So, boss, who? Move! All of them, bro.
So boss, lie.
Kobbie, I'm telling you now, yeah, with these players returning, Martinez to come in, Wan-Bissaka, we're going to have hopefully Wan-Bissaka can stay fit, yeah, but Delo on one side, Wan-Bissaka on the other one. Garnacho, there's belief building at this club. And then guess what? For other teams, the Aston Villas of this world, bums are going because when the fixture starts and there's moans and groans because you lot ain't doing what you're meant to be doing when the clock's ticking, and that pressure is real pressure. Aston Villa have to deal with that every game now. Now another team that has to deal with pressure is Spurs, and I don't trust Spurs for nothing, bro. Spurs generationally, we know the history of Spurs. Spurs bottle jobs, and they got loads of games, yeah. And it's like if Spurs does it. Well done, and Postecoglou. But I don't believe in him, bro. I don't. I can't wait, bro, because if we finish this season, yeah, and for all the Ten Hag, like, people that really love the manager, if we finish this season and we get top 4 and we raise the FA Cup, I'm going to be unbearable. And there's going to be some people that have to answer some questions because charges are coming, bro. Again, it's all written down. Charges will be, listen, there's going to be, no allegations. I got proof.
Full charges. Marcel, what do you think when it comes to the Champions League? You've stayed pretty consistent as well. You've been saying, to be fair, Marcel's been saying for weeks, not top 5 to go top 4. Top 4 still on. Now, do you feel a bit more, vindicated?
A lot more points to be won. And I'm always thinking about the 3rd position, just so that my expectation is like high as possible, so that we meet somewhere in the middle. So I'm thinking about chasing the 3rd position. It's 15. There's 30 points to play for. 15 points. Yeah, it's possible.
He's been saying this for weeks. He's been saying this for weeks.
It's still math.
This is nothing new.
This is nothing new.
What he's smoking.
This is nothing new.
What we're smoking.
It's 15
points. Smoking.
Right now, I'm focusing on the 3rd position. It's very mathematically possible.
I tell you what, we got to be careful, those guys, because Kenny's saying I want what he's spoken, but the thing is, last few weeks, Marcel, he ends up being right.
Thank you.
I'm glad. He was saying last week, Antony scores big goals. Week later, he equalised in the FA Cup. I don't even know anymore, Kenny, with Marcel, man. I've got crisis of faith.
I thought my take was crazy when I said 4th, because this is really brave. 3rd.
Marcel went bravery, 4th. That's possible. Let's try 3rd.
That means you're going to take Liverpool. Whose space are you going to take? Liverpool's? Who's?
Well, I think right now, what City is the position that's 3rd right now, KG, isn't it?
Wait, so City will finish above City?
Well, I'm not. Well, firstly, I'm not going to say that we'll finish above them. I'm not going to say that. I'm saying it's within our hands to achieve that. Definitely. There's 30 points to play for, KG, and it's 15 points from that position. City have to lose a couple games. Have you seen their fixtures? They've got a lot of fights within that top 4, top 6 position. So do Tottenham, so do Arsenal, and so do Spurs. So all 4 or 5 of us, Manchester United, City, Aston Villa, and Spurs, we've all got top 6, 6-pointer games to play. At least 3 or 4 of them, making that 12 to 15 points. One of the teams will lose 3 games. One of the teams will lose 2 big games and drop a lot of points. So,
but can we go on a run? Because that's the second half of the equation, isn't it? The first half is people dropping points. Second half, can we go on a run? We've got 10 games left of the season. Can we win the majority of those?
Yeah, because and they're horrible games, by the way, Owen, as well. But I think if Ten Hag sticks to that pragmatic style of football and compact style of football, I think we have the players that are really good at these counterattacks. Like Garnacho's really good. Højlund's back now. Mason Mount, I think we could go on a run, but there will be some draws in there. We will drop points, and it has to be via the draws. We cannot lose these games. Ten Hag has to learn to be a lot more pragmatic than he's been in the first season, because it was 10 losses, 10 wins, which is just too wild now. We need the players back, and they need to be cohesive unit as a team. I think Kenny was mentioning
Marcel, I have to say this now, lad. You've just said there's 30 points available. City are 15 points in front of us. But Man United are going to start drawing games now. So where the hell do we get all these points from if we're drawing games?
Well, I'm saying the only way that we can drop points is what I'm saying is via draws. We have to the maximum we can lose is 2 points is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we're gonna lose all the games.
KG had enough. KG couldn't take it. Yeah.
Why is he gone? Is that too much for him? He doesn't believe that.
Is that too much?
It was too much. He couldn't take it.
Owen, as you know, Owen, this is how it works for me. This is how it is with me since you've known me for the last God knows how long now. I don't even know how long it's been, but I say these things, and then it comes back around.
Shirt as well, didn't you? I saw that he recently wore the De Gea shirt. He lives up to his word as well. So
Eternal optimist. Eternal optimist.
Absolutely. Biggie Third says, this is a crazy super chat, by the way. Yesterday's game highlights why I've lost faith in Erik Ten Hag. He should be able to get yesterday's performance from this squad on a more consistent basis. Biggie Third, man, come on. I mean, let's not. You can never satisfy some people, can you? Honestly, you win, you knock the rivals out. This should be happening every single week. You got to enjoy it whilst you can. Enjoy it. Amador says, Marcel, you should go on Side TV and smash traps, etc. You never know. Marcel's he's everywhere. He's everywhere. Sati says, Marcel, the goal difference is very bad. That's also another point.
That's the other one. That's another point.
Ugo also says, Marcel, please, can I have what you're having? Lots of people, like Kenny said, want want to smoke what you're smoking as well. We've got a returning KG the comedian who decided, I don't know if he'd had enough, what the situation was, KG, and we said that it was Marcel's takes. It was
Marcel was taking liberties though, man. Again, saying that's too strong. You know, there's levels to this. I would love him to be right, but I think like saying that we're gonna finish above City when we're 15 points, like, come on, man, Marcel. Like,
KG, do you like this?
I'm not saying directly that we will. I'm saying it's mathematically possible, and that should be the aim. Not top 4 or not top 5, because then you don't reach those targets. But if you aim above your target, 3rd position, and you're constantly looking at 3rd position, you will get top 4, guaranteed.
KG, I wanted to read you this super chat, by the way. You missed this one, just because your reaction to this. Biggie Third said, yesterday's game highlights why I've lost faith in Erik Ten Hag. He should be able to get yesterday's performance from this squad on a more consistent basis.
You know, I'm not going to fight fans. I think some fans' mindsets are
Why not?
set.
Why aren't you going to fight fans? Why
No, because you can't do nothing.
You've been doing it a lot
like,
recently. You've been doing it a lot recently.
Sometimes I try to, but then it's ridiculous. Some things these are like predisposed feelings. Nothing that they see will change their mind. Yesterday, like all the stuff about he's got no in-game management, can't do nothing on a game, can't do this, coaching's poor. You saw the answers to that. The players are not fighting for him. You saw the answers to that. Well, like so much. And then after, even when they asked him about his style of play, he told you exactly how he wants to play. He says, I struggle with that because I don't actually have the consistency. I want to play, build up from the back, win the ball early, high pressing, and then rest defense. He actually broke down exactly how he wants to play. But I mean, he was like, he's got no tactics. Come on, guys. Come on. So if you're seeing information and you refuse to accept it because you're committed to the take that you had before, I think I don't know. I think there's nothing I can say to you that's going to change your mind. Mate, enjoy yourself.
We got 375 likes here at the moment. We can get to 500 easy. If you haven't already clicked the like button, we still got over 1,300 people watching. So click that like button. John, I want to ask you a question about the captain, Bruno Fernandez, because before we started, I saw a clip. I don't know if you guys have seen this. If not, I recommend to go watch it. Bruno Fernandez was doing an interview after the game with MUTV, and in it, he goes through pretty much every person that came on the pitch and praised them. He's going like, even Victor was doing very well. And he's literally picking out everyone. And then the reporter for MUTV says, well, since you did the captainly thing and praise every single person on the pitch, I'm going to praise you. You're always available. And you play every single game, whether you're injured or not. And I just want to tell you that all of these people in the stands, they love you, they respect you, and they admire what you do. And he starts getting choked up. He starts going, well, that makes me really emotional. Thank you, and all that kind of stuff. And they sort of end the interview quite quickly. Did we see yesterday, John, from Bruno, who at points was doing what Bruno Fernandez has done this season, which can be a bit iffy, a bit reckless at points, but he clearly had an injury. Towards the end, he's playing centre-back, and he's fighting through injury. Did we see sort of what we were looking for in terms of like a captain's performance yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I have to hold my hands up here. You know, if this is going to get clipped up, Bruno Miguel Borges Fernandes, I need you to understand that my bad.
Full name. His full name.
When you say my bad, you got to address the full name, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? So my bad, because as much as I loved Bruno Fernandez, for me, what I wanted to see in a captain was somebody that had emotional control. And I just always used to question that element of Bruno Fernandez. And we saw Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on the overlap also talking about that, Stick to Football, where he was also saying that he wanted to, he was giving advice to Bruno, tell him to calm down a little bit. But what I've come to accept is that nobody is perfect. And that's just a part of Bruno's game, that maybe it might be a flaw in one game, but it might be a benefit in another. It's just a characteristic element of Bruno Fernandez. But all the other things that Bruno brings to the table as a captain is phenomenal. Yesterday, I got teary-eyed just watching that squad. And I started choking when Rashi first scored, and then you see Garnacho running behind them. Like the dude was like, he was like,
pain in his face. Yeah.
He's like, That shit, I'm not gonna lie, that shit had me like, I'm not playing. And then when Garnacho just laid down on the floor, Bruno came and sort of piled on top of him. It just goes to show, this guy is willing to die for his team. Running around the back, limping, spraying. That last 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the strategy was get Harry Maguire to build up from the back and just bomb him forward and give the ball to Bruno and spray that 40-yard diagonal over the top, win the aerial dominance for Harry Maguire and try to get something. That was the strategy. And Bruno was like, my man was, he was like low-key pimp walking in the back, like trying to like, you know what I'm saying? And he's still on it. How do you question that? And then for him to show love, honestly, the man must be gassed. Like, I'm pretty sure I would have thrown up in the middle of an interview if that was me. Like, how tired must he have been? But for him to go through all that to try and big up every single one of his teammates, especially the young ones who probably can do more, who probably would feel that much more better and accomplished if they felt the love from their captain when they played so hard. That doesn't just come like this. That comes from characteristics and qualities of a captain. So again, Bruno Miguel Borges Fernandes, my bad. You are absolutely the captain. Oh, beautiful.
Kenny, what did you make of Bruno yesterday? Again, did we see sort of at points the best and worst? Do you think of him?
Yeah, and it goes back to what I said before. We're all jubilant. We're not singling out any player. We're talking about young men who did this, and Wan-Bissaka and so on. But we're looking at the team yesterday, and overall the team was incredible. The spirit, the fight, and that he's got to play his part in that because he's the captain. But ultimately, if we'd have lost that game, we'd have been berating Fernandez today. We'd have been berating Rashford for the miss. I know we would. Would have been clipping up. Is it time for Rashford to go? Should Bruno be captain? Because it appeared, and everybody commented on it, that I think it was the second goal of Liverpool. He appeared to feign injury to try and win a free kick instead of staying upright.
KG thinks it was a foul, Kenny. KG still thinks it's a foul.
I'm not saying it does ridiculous.
That referee was a disgrace.
Well, it wasn't brilliant, I accept that. But the point I'm making is it goes back to what we're always saying, isn't it? This time next week, if we lose against Brentford or whatever, it'll be a different momentum from us. We'll be looking for fall guys. We'll be blaming Antony, Rashford, we'll be blaming this or whatever. Ultimately, yesterday, every one of the Man United players yesterday, looking at it, would have died for that badge. And as a fan, I can't ask for any more. Whether the captain, the sub, the lad who's on loan, whether it's the number 18th in the squad, I don't care. But yesterday was the most important game of the season. And that's Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter-final. We beat them. It's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. What anybody did, good, bad, or indifferent. Ultimately, we beat our greatest rivals. We humiliated them in front of the 9,000 fans. Do you know what I mean? Awesome. I think the captain was good. The goalkeeper, we berated the goalkeeper. I thought the goalkeeper's distribution yesterday was what I expected from him. 2 deflected goals that I think he would have saved if it hadn't been deflections. So I ain't going to jump in on anyone, right? And I'm certainly not going to jump in on the captain or anyone. But I just understand that for me as a fan, let's go back to 7-0. We were all absolutely humiliated, right? And we're not praising Bruno then, are we? That's the point I'm making. You know what I mean? We're berating him as a captain, saying as your captain, he should have been leading us. And when it was 3-0 down, he should have done this or whatever. And he'd give up. He wanted to be substituted. We all remember it. He wanted to come off the field. It wasn't. So I ain't going to eat praise on any one individual. I'm going to eat praise on my team. And my team yesterday did exactly what I wanted as a fan. And that was to fight for the badge, and we smashed the Scousers. Anything else is irrelevant.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple more super chats here as well. Where are we at? King Howie says, Marcel is like me. I look at every game as winnable. We know it won't happen, but that's how we look at it with our team before every game. The United Football Way says, the thing we can hope for is that the players have tasted how it is to win against big teams, and this will give them a massive boost now. And Martinez also coming back soon. That's very true as well. Marcel, you spoke about it earlier on, the sort of the core, the nucleus of this United team. And me and Flex were talking about this morning, actually. You look at the front three, you look at Garnacho, super young. And Garnacho, by the way, apparently he only trained like 2 days last week. He's got a hamstring problem. Played 120 minutes. This is the winning goal. Unbelievable. He's there. So he's what, like 19, something around that age. Rasmus Højlund up front. He's 21. You've got Marcus Rashford. I mean, he's meant to be in his prime right now. You then look in the midfield. You've got Kobbie Mainoo. 18. Mason Mount just coming in. He's only 25 as well. You look at some of the players in the back line as well. You look at Diogo Dalot. He's 25 today. I think it is his birthday today. Martinez, he's not exactly old either as well. And, you know, you certainly do then look at actually, and then Amad comes on, does his thing. He's young too. Is Ten Hag building something, a bit of a young nucleus? And I suppose what you've mentioned previously, do we have to give them a bit more time? Because actually that sort of youth of blooding those players in is starting to sort of, I guess, show dividends already.
Yeah, you're right, Owen. And like you were mentioning before as well on the morning show, is, you know, the likes of Dalot's been here for so long. So it's like they understand what it gets, you know, what it means to be part of the club. And he mentioned in an interview, I think it was his post-match interview, where he was saying, you know, about those defensive lines and the midfield lines and all the space in the midfield that was there. And he's almost putting the onus on himself, because there was a moment where, you know, Scott McTominay is asking the whole defensive line to push up and move up with them, but he's the first one, you know, in the centre-back position, going into the midfield line to try and win that ball. Something that also Bruno mentioned in the post-match interview when he was playing centre-back. What these centre-backs need to do under Ten Hag, you know, they need to be taking the forward step to try and win that ball from midfielders and from the forward line players. You know, you mentioned, you know, I've got a weird thing with prime numbers. Number 37 is a prime number. That's Kobe. Number 11 is a prime number. That's Højlund, young player. Number 17 is a prime number. That's Garnacho. Rashford is in his prime, like you mentioned. Dalot is coming up into his prime as well. So there's a good group, you know, and like Ten Hag saying, there's a massive amount of potential in this squad. There is no manager on this planet Earth that is better than Erik Ten Hag for Manchester United Football Club. I'm telling you guys all right now, you know, and I know, and KG's articulated it in a much bigger way than I have. I still have a thing for De Zerbi, because I know that he's producing football automation, in the sense that the way he coaches footballers.
You're willing to cheat. You said that last week. You were willing to
Yeah,
cheat.
that was wild.
Well, I changed it. I changed it to so it's PG. I did change it. I can't remember what I said, but I changed it so it's PG, because cheat sounds crazy. But anyway, you know, I know that Ten Hag is the guy, and it's because he allows football freedom. He allows the positional rotations. There's still an element of total football, whereas with De Zerbi, it's football automation, and it's very specific. There's only option A and B, it feels like, at Brighton Football Club, or whatever, how he sets up the teams. Whereas, you know, players are popping up at random positions under Ten Hag. He needs more, you know, experience. You know, somebody that had a bit more legs, that's experienced, like Casemiro. Maybe a Paulinho from Fulham, but hasn't played at the big levels and won big trophies. Well. Yeah, you know, he needs to get, you know, Dan Ashworth coming in now, and the structure above him is going to be beautiful for Ten Hag, because he doesn't have that pressure of now bringing the footballer in with the guaranteed quality and all the checks done properly. I think Dan Ashworth has got a track record of bringing players that can really impact the Premier League. And that's what Ten Hag needs now to be able to carry on, you know, producing the football within his style. I don't even think it's transitional football that he wants, you know, because like what KG's saying, he tells us what he wants. And it's, yes, he's mentioned previous that it's transition football with the current footballers that he has within the team. You know, that's why it's like this. But once he, you know, is able to upregulate the quality of the squad, though, and I think, you know, that core group with, you know, players that are really technical and can play in the opposition's half, I really think it's a wrap, you know. And if you give him a long enough time, you know, to carry out this process, I really think he's going to have a strong grip on the Premier League, and it will be game over for a lot of the people, you know, in and around us. His only issue now is being able to break down banks of four, you know, and being able to play this kind of football very well for longer than those 30-minute spells, for longer than those 45-minute spells, or 10-minute spells, whatever it is. Bright future ahead.
Bright future ahead.
Can I say
Go on,
something?
KG. Go on.
What I would like, just again, end of the season, let's see what backing these boys like. Just let's try and just be football fans. Do you know what I mean? I get it, like the need for being like tier one analysts of the game and whatever. But sometimes it's just about backing. Like I do look at Liverpool fans sometimes and say, they do have something there. Darwin Núñez, the amount of chances Darwin Núñez misses, if he ever played for Man United, we'd kill him. We'd murder him. We'd literally, like Rashford, it was silly yesterday. Some people came out of the game saying, I still haven't forgiven Rashford for that miss.
That's what I was going to ask you this question. The question I was going to ask you, KG, actually, and it's funny you bring that up. I was going to ask you, like, does Marcus Rashford, do you think he does get sort of harshly criticised? Because, yes, obviously, he missed those chances yesterday. They were offside as well. They probably would have been given offside. He scored a goal. He, for the first goal as well, he did the reverse pass to Garnacho. He did the same thing, actually, in the second half, that kind of off the left-hand side reverse pass, play someone in. That is it one of those cases, actually, if it was another player, would we be sort of waxing lyrical about him? But because it's Rashford's, he gets judged more harshly.
Yeah, I just think we just have to try something different as fans. You know, like I've tried something different this season. You lot know that usually I don't give managers time. With Ten Hag has probably been the one where I haven't bucked and said, you know what, I'm done with him. You know, and there could have been probably games where I'm like, I'm done. I said, you know, I'm going to try something different this time with this manager. He wasn't my main one that I wanted. At the time, you lot know, I was excited about Poch. I just saw that thing thinking, Poch has always wanted Man United. He spoke about being there for the Barcelona one. I thought he almost left Spurs because he wanted Man United so much. So I was already into the whole storyline of Poch. Again, this new manager's come. I remember seeing what it was like at Ajax. I remember I remember being in Amsterdam and all the fans and just his mindset of we're going to go out and win games. And I remember the Ajax fans saying, like, and I probably took it personally. They said, look after him. They knew what we did with Donny van der Beek. Yeah. They knew what we done with Donny van der Beek because we didn't look after him. Yeah. And they said, guys, look after him, give him time. He will deliver something for you. And I'm telling you right now, yeah, I don't know if I'm probably holding on to that, but now you're looking at a guy, a manager who is going to go to he's gone back-to-back semi-finals in the FA Cup. Man United have been poor in cup competition. Let's have it right. The team that he was inheriting were rubbish. We weren't talking about being involved in anything. Now we're talking about, well, there's a chance of top 4, top 5, whatever, but getting back into the Champions League, silverware, and we're involved in these cups. How can we not say that this is not progression? This is not a step in the right direction. And yes, some things have gone wrong in terms of his signing, but we're bringing in structure. So again, my thing is, can we just try to support this team without all the other stuff? You know, without all the beyond super critical breakdowns and stuff, and say, you know what? I support Man United and these players, and I'm gonna give supporting these players my all. As much as I say to them, I want running from you lot, and I want you to do, because they got a job to do. As Roy Keane says, Roy Keane, do your job. Yeah, their job is to give everything on the pitch. Our job is to support them. Can we do our jobs as fans? You know what I mean? And leave the whole in and out situation and say, you know what, turning up this week, I'm backing these boys. No matter what's gone on before, let's back them to the end of the season. Let's see what we can finish, bro. That's what I'm on.
Do you think, Kenny, do you think there's been so much made about, you know, Jim Ratcliffe and will he, won't he with Ten Hag? Have they made their mind up, this, that, and the other? But as someone that he's spoken openly about, you know, admiring Sir Alex Ferguson and that kind of ethos of last-minute winners, youth development, I don't think he was at the game yesterday, so Jim. He might have been, but I don't think he was. So Dave Brailsford would have been there. But do you think he would have seen yesterday and gone, actually, maybe we do stick by this guy because it's those kind of moments that stick with you?
You've got KG's already touched on it, right? I'll take you back to the 70s. In the 70s, Liverpool dominated European football far more probably than what Man United did in the 90s and 2000s. Right, we were very, very poor second relations. Apart from winning the odd FA Cup, Liverpool were incredible. Their fans, when that domineerance they lost the domineerance and Ferguson took over. Their fans then were like Man United fans now. All they could do was hurt back to the time when Shankly, Paisley, Fagan and all them were there, and Dalglish. That's all they could do. So they never wanted to give any other manager a chance. They never wanted to, because what was very fresh in their mind was all the success that they just had. European titles, doubles, etc., etc. They were an incredible football machine. They were fabulous, right? And we were very, very much second fiddle. Very similar to what happened under Ferguson. Then what happened at Liverpool was they found a manager that over a 2 or 3 year period, slowly but surely turned it round for them. And now what you find, all right, he's leaving, thank God, right? But what you find now is that the Liverpool fans appear to be, and we've touched on with Núñez or whatever, because of what Klopp has managed to do, he's managed to make them a great team again. I don't mean by winning trophies, but he's given the fans belief back into that team. Now, I'm not saying Eric Ten Hag is the next Jurgen Klopp. I ain't doing that, right? But what you've got to understand is with Man United and with Liverpool, your benchmark is the highest. Your benchmark is at the highest level, because as football fans, you've only ever known elite title European champion winning football teams. That's it. No seconds and thirds or fourth for Liverpool fans. Believe me, right? They were like you. I love the saying, Ferguson ruined their childhoods. He did. He ruined their childhoods because their standards were even higher than what Man United's were. Believe me. No, we've got an opportunity in the manager. We've not had it in a while. Was never going to get under David Moyes. Certainly not Mourinho. Certainly not Van Gaal, because they had a history. Where this guy's come in, we want to believe in him, and slowly but surely over time, I think that Ineos, you've mentioned Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Don't forget, Sir Jim Ratcliffe is older than me. Sir Jim Ratcliffe yesterday understands. Katie's laughing. No, but the point I'm making is Jim Ratcliffe fully understands about Manchester United versus Liverpool and the hierarchy within world football. So he will see what we're talking about now. He'll understand that we live in a different world then. All you ever got was the back page of the Daily Mirror back in the 70s and 80s. No, it's in your face 24 hours, 52 weeks a year. Football, football, football. He will understand that if he sees that the fans, the majority supporting Ten Hag, then if he wants to leave a legacy, then he's got to support Ten Hag. I think he'd be frightened of starting again. I do now, honestly. I do, because I don't think there's another manager out there. So it's already been spoke about. I can't see enough. If there is a manager, then Liverpool's got him, and that's Alonso. He's going to be the next Liverpool manager.
Yeah, or Bayern. He might go to Bayern instead.
Oh, well, hopefully for us, he does.
Yeah, I'd love that to go Bayern.
Yeah. For us, he does, because he's another. And what you had at Liverpool back in the 70s and 80s, they had. There's one left. It was always another Liverpool backroom boy that came in. They had to understand about the football club. They had to understand about the winning. As soon as he moved away from that model, they started to fall. By bringing Alonso back in, I think the fans will automatically buy into it. They will buy into it straight away. Another manager won't be given the opportunities and the chances, but Alonso will, because he's a hero of theirs anyway to start with. He's a hero of theirs. So if he can get that momentum going, and that's a Liverpool problem. But for us, I think he'd have sat there yesterday, right? So Jim Ratcliffe, one of the richest men in England, yesterday would have been a football fan. Nothing else. Because at 100, when Amad's goal went in, I don't care where he was in the world or wherever, he'd have been bouncing around that living room or wherever he was. Because that's what supporting Man United does for you. And I think because of he's of that generation, he understands better than anyone the importance of supporting that manager. So I just think yesterday, if there was any if buts and maybes, it slightly went in Ten Hag's a long way. Because what he also saw was that ground was absolutely bouncing.
Yeah.
When people are walking at the gates and they're singing all the United songs all the way to the car park, then you know you've got something special. And I think yesterday could be hopefully the beginning of it.
Absolutely. A couple of super chats here. Kyle says, if Bruno's nature is detrimental to the team, that's a problem. He gets carded for his nature, not his passion. Red Baron says, the pundits are crying. This is a wild comment from Red Baron. Says, John's comment on how United like to get pegged. Maybe we do. It's 2024. It's okay if United like to get pegged back. I mean, John said that a couple weeks ago, and then he found out what it meant. He went, I didn't know what it meant.
I said pegged. There's a difference between. All right, hold on. Y'all need to understand, yeah. I'm from New York. Y'all from England. Y'all's like the way you guys use your words, like somebody called me a spoon last time. What the hell is a spoon? You know what I'm saying? Somebody called me a muffin. Like,
spoon.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I get called these random ass names. If I call somebody a spoon here in New York, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, y'all need to understand. When I say they get, Man United, we're getting pegged back. I'm not using pegging like y'all's using pegging. So please, excuse me. All right.
It's just sometimes there's just a bit of a communication. Like John asked me
I'm
earlier on
not
today.
trying to get the freaking video demonetized again. Don't do that.
John asked me earlier on about daylight savings. He was like,
There you go.
He's like, do you have that over there? I went, yeah, we got it. It's a few weeks later. I went, oh, okay. I just didn't know. He went, I've always wondered for like 10 years. He said, you live and you learn every day. Every day's a school day. So there you go. Larry says, Ten Hag's leaving like the last Dutch manager. Let's get Simone Inzaghi from Inter Milan. Can never please some people. Agge says, the three-piece suit means business. Ten Hag was suited and booted yesterday. Absolutely.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Fire.
And Larry says, now we are just talking about the euphoria of yesterday. We should forget what we've seen all season now. We used to laugh at Arsenal for the FA Cup triumphs. I don't think, well, this is when I've seen this comment quite a bit when they're saying, well, just because we won yesterday, that means the season's saved. You go, well, no, obviously, but that you have this kind of option, don't you? Do you want to dwell on the past, or do you want to focus on now and enjoy the now, and then also go, well, how can that affect the future? How can that affect this block of 10 games? I mean, this is what's, I guess, good about the March international break is there's just 2 weeks and then that's it. Rest of the season, right? Who's going to win the league? Who's going to qualify for top 4? Who's going to get relegated? It's a big fight, and that's what it's. This block of 10 games. Business end of the season. So Alex Ferguson, you said squeaky bum time, and that goes for all different kind of permutations, whether it's the titles, top 4s, relegations, and all the way in between. And that's what it's going to be all about as well. So on that note, we'll go around the panel before we wrap things up. Simple question. Will we be in the Champions League next season? The new format. KG, I shall start with you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And also, actually, we'll be in the Champions League. And what position will we finish to get into it?
I'm not gonna do a Marcel. I wanna go all out for 4th, but 5th can get it done. I'm gonna say 4th. I think Man United can do a 4th place. Yeah.
Kenny,
the last game of the season is against Arsenal at Old Trafford. Manchester
Is
United
it Brighton?
will win.
Haven't we got Brighton last game of the season?
No,
I think it is.
I think it's
Our
Arsenal.
last home game. No, our last home game.
Last
Home game is Arsenal. All right. Our last home game against Arsenal, we will beat Arsenal. We will get 5th place above instead of Tottenham, and we'll give Manchester City the league. Don't mind
John,
that. Don't want to give it Liverpool.
John, what say you?
We're getting Champions League. I don't know about 4th. I'll be happy with 5th, given how the season's gone. I think more importantly, it's about just supporting these boys and wanting to see a proper fight till the end. I think that's what's most important. We saw this against Liverpool. We saw the result against Liverpool, how it can rally the boys, it can rally the fans. And it's the nature of the good vibes. If we can just continue to ride that momentum, who says Marcel is wrong? You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows. But my point is, let's just ride it out game by game. You know what I'm saying? Just ride it out game by game. And I'll say we're making Champions League, but I don't know about 4th, maybe 5th.
Marcel?
Yeah, definitely gonna make it. 4th place is guaranteed. It's just about how we kind of impose ourselves against the top 4. What's the game plan against the top 4? And then you might see 7 wins or 6. Like it depends how many wins we pick up for 3rd place. But we have to be aiming for 3rd place. But we will get top 4.
I knew that was going to be that, sir. I think we'll get Champions League. I do. I think things are going our way. I think, well, now it's just a case of we're relying on ourselves. I don't think we're necessarily relying on others as much. I mean, I suppose technically we are in the sense of they have to drop points. But you look at particularly Spurs, who they've got to play the top 3. And just chances are they're going to drop points. And you would say 2 out of those games, not even saying lose, they might draw some of those games. And that's a good result to them. But, that's where United have got to take advantage of. So I'm saying we do get Champions League. I'm going to go with a 5th place. So I think 5th place will probably just about do it. But there you go, guys. That's the full view for you today, this evening. Big up to the panel. Big up to KG. Big up to Kenny. Big up to Good Vibes John. Big up to Marcel, as always. How many likes did we finish up at? We finished up on over 500 likes. We've still got over 1,300 people watching. So let's see if we can get that up. Get that up to, I don't know, 600, 700. Anything's possible. whilst we're on the way out. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We'll be back tomorrow morning live, as always, 9 a.m. Flex and KG show tomorrow as well, 6 p.m. too. KG will be there. Have a good one. We'll speak to you again very soon. Right out here. Peace.